So today I have the pleasure of talking to Lucy. Lucy, please introduce yourself and your business to the community.
Great, thank you very much, Claire. So my business is a company called Gellar Property. Gellar is essentially, so my background is I am a chartered surveyor in property consultancy. And I have had the pleasure of being able to work in-house with businesses. So a couple of names to drop would be Halfords and Store 21. So both typically retailers, albeit obviously in-house in a business experience, heading up a sort of asset management side of things with property, but essentially running all of their sort of strategy side of things on a property basis. So that's my sort of background. I then decided to jump out onto the other side of things and go into a property consultancy role, basically lending all of the experience and knowledge that I'd had from those in-house roles to be able to bring them to smaller businesses where they may not necessarily have an in-house property consultancy side of things, and actually be able to give them that experience and that knowledge to help run their businesses.
Nice. And for how long have you been doing that now?
So my business is actually fairly newly formed. It's only been a sort of up and running for the last 3 months, but I have been a business partner in a previous business for the past 4 years. So doing exactly the same thing previously, but now running it just on my own without a business partner, and sort of running the day-to-day side of things.
What inspired you to go it alone, to start on your own?
Really just my passion and ability to manage the business on my own. I love what I do, and essentially wanted to be the main decision maker and the driver for that business, and not to necessarily have to confer, I suppose, in a sense, with anybody else, but actually be the key decision maker to move forward with the ideas and the way in which I wanted to take it forward.
Fantastic, congratulations. And
Thank you.
what would you say has perhaps been one of your biggest learnings so far?
Um, I'd say one of the biggest learnings, and I'm still learning now because obviously it's 3 months since sort of the birth of the business, if you like, is the amount of sort of admin that you've got to set something up. Things like accountants, bank accounts, all of these things just take time. All of my accreditation with the RICS, all of those side of things. And you take it for granted, obviously, when you're running a business with somebody else, because you kind of portion up the elements between you. But when it's yourself, obviously, you've got a long list of things that you've got to do before you even hit the ground running. So I think that's probably been my biggest learning curve, is how much I actually had to do before I even set off and even started looking after clients.
Yeah, absolutely. You wear many hats at the beginning.
Yeah, you certainly do. You should become a jack of all trades, and on top of all the other bits and pieces that you're used to doing.
Absolutely. What would you say, along sort of navigating and having a few learnings, what would you say is perhaps one of the maybe slightly bigger challenges as a new business that you may have faced?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and I did a sort of a post on it on LinkedIn the other day, because it's something that's very close to my heart, is the self-belief of being able to, when you've got this idea, and you know, so I sort of took this thing that I wanted to go and set up on my own. I knew that I could do it, but deep down I started to question, could I do it? Because of course, all of a sudden you're on your own, and that passion is great and everything else, but you start questioning, will people believe in you? Will all of your clients that you've already got support you? Will they come across? And I think the confidence and the self-belief is two of the biggest challenges, to make sure that you just keep that focus in order to kind of help with all of that, and keeping, you know, sort of just, yeah, focusing yourself really, and coming back to the point that why you've set out to do it in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. That self-belief is huge. And I love the Walt Disney is it dream, believe and dare. So absolutely, you've probably been through all of those. How would you say you have changed since becoming the sole owner and leader?
Um, I've had to, I suppose, I think it's one of the things that I, funny enough, focused on with my business coach recently, and it is the key word, focus, and it's keeping on coming back and focusing on why did you set out to do this? What do you need to do to set out to do it? And putting those key tools in place to make sure, and you keep, because almost if you start going off, on tangents, and you start losing that focus, it's kind of questioning why are you actually doing this business? And I think that's one of the biggest things, is coming back to that main key word, focus. Why have you set out to do it? What do you need to do? I think those are the two key things for me.
Yeah, and you said something there as well, that kind of alluded to, like, breaking it down, those bite-sized chunks, so that they're manageable as well. So yeah, focus is massive, isn't it? I do get distracted by shiny. I go, oh, we can do that as well.
Absolutely.
But it's like,
it's consistency and focus, I think, are the two big things, those two major words.
yeah, no, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. What about the successes? What successes have you experienced?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since I came out from sort of in-house at the likes of Halfords, I've been incredibly fortunate to work with some amazing businesses. One being sort of one of my core businesses, which is a company called Pure Electric, who are they retail electric scooters, which of course I know aren't legal at the moment, but obviously at the forefront of being legalised. And, given their European successes and the fact that now we've got the rentals in the UK, I've worked with them on their store acquisition programme. And, that has just then sort of elevated my profile in terms of, obviously, then the ability to work with other businesses. I went in to work with Pure Electric in an in-house property consultancy role. So basically doing all their acquisitions, looking after all their property consultancy, day-to-day property management, etc. And it was great because it gave me that stepping stone to really talk about it on social media. People see what was going on with the business in terms of its growth, and me being a major part of that assistance in that growth. And of course, the spotlight that then puts on me as an individual, and how that's helped me to elevate, my career in terms of the other businesses and the other individuals that I've been being able to work with, I think has been one of my major successes. And it's just continued to sort of grow that network and that contact base. So yeah, that would definitely be one of my sort of major things that I would highlight.
Yeah, I love that as well. What knowledge and experience gained throughout that period as well. So where do you see your business in the next 5 years?
I just want to keep on growing it. I mean, one of the reasons I set out to sort of start on my own was essentially I wanted to give, and it's the strap line of my actual business, it's called True Property Solutions. I wanted to give honest, reliable feedback that people could really count on, and none of this sort of I don't want to use the word because I'd be naughty and it'd be unprofessional of me, but basically the sort of it's hard to use a different word to explain it, but the way in which there's a lot of false sort of words given out there about sort of property, and a lot of things done for just to earn a fee, and people just to earn a fee and to work with someone. And I really don't like that. I've been on the inside, I've seen it, and essentially I set up the business to basically be able to give good, honest advice, and basically tell, to give some insight as to why I would do what I'm suggesting we do at that point in time, and how I think that my sort of advice will help enhance and add value to their business.
Nice, I like that. And that true, open, honest communication is key and critical, I think, during that growth phase as well. So how do you like to switch off? What do you like to do outside work?
It's very difficult because I own this business as well as another business, and I won't go into that because there isn't enough time to go into the other business. But my husband often says to me, do I ever stop thinking? And in short, I don't stop thinking. I find it incredibly difficult. And I think I have 2 children myself, so that in itself gives me that ability to, you know, to get away. And it's one of the hardest things when you own a business is to switch off. And it's funny because I've been working on some sort of exercises with my business coach not so long ago, and she got me to think of a place the last time I was relaxed. And well, not so much the last time I was relaxed, when I was very relaxed. And I remember when it was, we were in the States in October, we went for a holiday and we went down to the Florida Keys. And I took a picture at that point in time of me just chilling. I think I was drinking maybe a pina colada or something of that nature, in my swimsuit, just chilling. And I have a picture of that, and I come back to that and I get into that, see that picture, and it takes me back, and I'm able to just kind of take myself back to switching off, being away with a family, and just trying to get away from it all. Because it, as I say, when you run a business, it is completely, it's so difficult to ever stop thinking and ever switched off properly. So whilst I try, I think, yeah, it's one of those, I think it's one of those habits, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. But that switch off time in your mind as well is equally important, just to recharge and kind of reset.
Okay.
And finally, Lucy, if you were talking to someone thinking about starting a business, what advice might you offer them?
I think one of the biggest things that I would say is if you've got that itch and it's been niggling, don't hold back, because one of the things, you know, I don't think you ever want to regret anything. And I think if you've got that niggle, and it will just keep on coming back, it will keep on coming back. And if you are going to start out and you keep on thinking about the worst things that could happen, and you think, oh, it's not going to work, you know, what is the worst that can happen? You go back into employment. But if you don't give it a try, I think it could end up being the biggest regret of your life. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I would say is go for it. Don't look back, focus, and just be consistent in what you do.
Lucy, I love that. Thank you so much. No regrets.
No regrets. Exactly.
It's really nice to reflect on that. So Lucy, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you coming and sharing your story with us, and good luck to your future success.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Claire.